mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me.
Why do readers love classics so much?
Breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream of
Is it because they are timeless? Almost all classics, or at least the ones I have read, have one thing in common. They show that human experiences and emotions are universal. Feelings of desire, love, hatred, and so on have always existed and will continue to exist in the future and be a common theme in books and culture. My earliest memory of Wuthering Heights is looking at this beautiful hardbound maroon colored, slightly larger than a pocketbook copy on my father's bookshelf. And it was not a special edition or anything, but it was probably printed in the 50s and the 60s. I can't find the copy anymore. I think it got lost when my parents moved homes, but it's one of my biggest regrets when it comes to owning books, that I didn't look after it properly and I don't have it with me anymore. Anyway, even though I found the book to be very beautiful, I didn't pick it up until I was 15 years old, and that too out of sheer boredom. It was the summer vacations, I ran out of books to read, so I went to my father's bookshelf and picked it up. And I remember being absolutely mesmerized by the book. I had never read a love story like that, I'd never read a revenge story like that. And every time I reread the book, I found new themes that I had missed earlier. So, if you don't know what it's about, the story is about a place called Wuthering Heights, which is owned by a man called Heathcliff, who lives there with his servant and a young man called Harriton and a young woman called Kathy Linton. The story is mainly about his love for a dead woman called Catherine Earnshaw. Most of the story is narrated by a woman called Nellie Dean. She used to be the housekeeper of Wuthering Heights when Heathcliff was a child. Now she's narrating the story to one of the tenants, Mr. Lockwood, who lives in a neighboring manor. So Heathcliff lives in Wuthering Heights and he owns another manor, which is a neighboring one. There they have leased it to tenants, and one of the tenants is a man called Mr. Lockwood, and the housekeeper, Mrs. Dean, is narrating the story to him. Why I think it's a classic that must be read is because there are so many themes in the book that will always be relevant. So, for example, what happens when a child doesn't get adequate love, or they are bullied as a child, or what happens when equal opportunities are not given to children, how it affects their future prospects, how it affects their life. I think these are themes that will always be relevant. Also, I think it's one of the original gothic novels, an original dark love story, which will always, I think, be an interesting read. So yeah, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights.
Classics provide a glimpse into the past. Many classics teach you about the history and the way of life decades ago or even centuries ago. It also shows us how far we have come as a society and how much we need to protect what we have achieved. For example, in Pride and Prejudice, the whole premise of the book was Mrs. Bennet's effort to get her daughters married so that they don't fall into poverty, as women were not allowed to own property at that time. And the father's estate was often given to a male relative than his own flesh and blood because they happened to be women.
Let's talk about Pride and Prejudice. I think I first read this book when I was 19 and it was love at first read. I love how cozy the book feels. I love how there are so many themes in the book while being relatively light and family oriented. I absolutely adore the opening paragraph and the opening line of the book. It just clearly depicts how funny and sarcastic Jane Austen was and how she found humor in sort of the unsavory parts of the society. If you're a reader, you know what the book is about. And even if you're not a reader, I think there are so many adaptations of the book that I think now everybody knows more or less what the story is about. So I'm not going to talk about the book, but rather the pop culture aspect of it. Which brings me to the fun debate. Was the BBC series better, or was the 2005 movie adaptation better?
Fight!
In my opinion, the BBC series was far superior to the movie.
Have you lost your mind?
Now hear me out, hear me out. Most people like Jane Austen novels because it's cozy and slow-paced. There is a very lengthy description about the landscape where the story is set, and the characters are also very well detailed and very well fleshed out, which I think was more accurately depicted in the BBC series. Even the characters were better depicted in the BBC series. For example, Mrs. Bennet and Lydia were nails on chalkboard annoying. And I think this was kind of toned down in the 2005 movie. In my opinion, this is because the BBC series was a 6-part series with each episode being more than an hour long, whereas the Keira Knightley movie was only 2 hours and 9 minutes long. So there wasn't enough time for us to get attached to the characters. The slow life vibe of Pride and Prejudice was better shown in the BBC series, again because of time, and you could sort of feel the boredom that the characters were feeling, and like how balls were like the only form of entertainment and how much significance they had in the society. The 2005 movie, if it was a series, then it probably would have been comparable to the BBC series because the casting of the movie was spot on. I feel the casting of the series, the BBC series, was also spot on, but I'm just saying that if the Keira Knightley movie was also a series, then it would have been comparable to the BBC version. And it's not just me who's feeling this. I mean, look at the IMDb ratings. So yeah, those are my 2 cents on Pride and Prejudice, one of my favorite classics.
Many classics are thought-provoking. They challenge your thoughts and perspectives. They help enhance critical thinking and make you question society. Books that come to mind in this regard are George Orwell's 1984 and Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale. Both novels are set in a dystopian world and are cautionary tales on how terrifying totalitarian regimes can be.
If someone told me there is only one classic that you can recommend, then that would be George Orwell's 1984. The book was first published in 1949, and it's about a dystopian future where the society is under a totalitarian regime. The story is about a fictional place called Oceania, where every aspect of the citizen's life is controlled by an entity called the Big Brother. There is no loyalty in the society, and everyone belongs to the state or the party. Even the thoughts that someone has are monitored by this party. You're not allowed to fall in love, and the party will choose your partner for you. And any children that are born from this union also belong to the party and are often spies for them. Now, the main character of the book, Winston, and the woman he loves try to rebel against the party, and they also try to be part of a revolution that is against this party. That is mainly the gist of the book. I don't want to reveal anything more in case there is someone who hasn't read the book and does not want spoilers. When I first read the book, I was horrified, and I thought that the author had quite a morbid imagination, not realizing that parts of the story could become a reality in my lifetime. And it's unfortunate that many aspects of the book are coming true in various parts of the world, which is why I feel it's a must read for everyone.
Classics are inspirational. Many readers aspire to be writers themselves someday. Most aspiring writers read and reread many classics, often taking inspiration from themes or writing style, or simply to figure out how to write effectively. There are many reasons why readers love classics. Which one's yours? And also, what is the one classic that you would always recommend? That's it for today. See you next time. Bye.